Hello and welcome to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Kalvin, and today we have a very special episode. This is an episode that was recorded all the way back in, I want to say, September of 2018 and never saw the light of day because it was not our best work. This is an episode about Eric Matthews that I did with the guys Kyle and Steven from Boy Meets World podcast, where, you know, they go through episode by episode recapping Boy Meets World. And so now that this show is coming to an end, I wanted to release that onto the world, and you can hear just what we think about Eric Matthews and how bad it was. I remember when we did this recording, I was sick and I came home from work early because we were doing it in the middle of the afternoon and I just wanted to go to sleep, but we had already planned this out. We'd been planning it for weeks, so we're ready to go. I feel like absolute trash, and so I powered through, and you can definitely tell that I'm trying to power through. And then they were probably my second guest that I did. This was back 2018. I was having guests on every week. This was probably the second one of those that I did, and I wasn't good at finding a way to engage the guests in the right way yet and asking the right questions. So it is a very raw and let's say interesting take on Eric Matthews from Boy Meets World. It was fun to do. Just wish we would have done a better job. And then this was their first guest spot too, so they were a little caught off guard about, you know, kind of the processes behind that. But it's very interesting to listen to now. I feel like both our shows have come a long way since then, and so it's kind of fun to go back into to see. So this is, I never released it because the quality wasn't up to the standard that I thought it should be, but now because the show's ending right before finale month, we are releasing it to the masses so everyone can enjoy this piece of work. So there's going to be a break here, and then you'll hear that episode in its entirety. Stay classy. Hello and welcome to a podcast about something. Today we are talking about Eric Matthews from Boy Meets World. I've got the guys Steven and Kyle from the podcast Boy Meets World, which is basically just a straight recap of every episode of the show. Isn't that right, guys?
Yeah, zero personality.
So why don't you tell our listeners what the show is really about and not just what your single one-star review says.
Take it away, Steve.
Well, I believe there's 2 one-star reviews now.
Oh, no.
You guys can keep them coming. I love to read them. They make me laugh. I appreciate it. Or you can give us a good one. That'd be great. The show is basically about Boy Meets World. It is a recap. But we also talk about the life lessons that each episode teach us, or how we relate about said lessons, and maybe some fun stories about Kyle's life, basically.
Yeah, a lot of misfortune growing up.
Right, obviously. Well, I love the show. I listen every week or so that you guys put them out, and I'm always excited when a new one comes out because it's a show that Boy Meets World is a show that I've loved since I was a kid, and it's great to follow along with you guys as you journey through. Steve, I think you're the one that says you do a yearly rewatch. I do probably 2 rewatches a year, and I'm doing one of them right now. You guys kind of spurned that in me to go watch it again.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole show was Steven's idea.
Yeah, Kyle, I don't think has actually ever seen the show in its entirety.
I haven't. I just catch it on CBS, ABC, Disney Kids or something. I just kind of watched it passively growing up. So I'm more familiar with later seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of jarring to watch season 1 and see Eric just be this 2-dimensional character that he is.
Yeah,
it's about cars and chicks.
Yeah, Eric goes through a lot of changes throughout the season.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting for me, at least, to see Kyle's reactions as we actually go through, since it is his first time, and a guy like me has watched it I don't even know how many times so far.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I go back and forth between Boy Meets World and Seinfeld pretty much as we sleep, and my wife hates me because of it. because she doesn't like anything while she sleeps, and I have to have one of these two shows on. And so yeah, it's always exciting to find other fans, because I feel like people don't give it the credit it deserves for being such a great show.
Oh, definitely not. And I think it still holds up to this day. No matter how many times I've watched it, I still laugh at every joke, get sad at every sad part. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it definitely holds up. I was watching one episode the other day, though, where I was sitting there and I'm like, why doesn't Corey just go Google the answer to this? And I'm like, oh, wait, it's 2000. Corey can't Google. So many problems would be solved with Google in Boy Meets World.
Oh, yeah. But, Corey would be, like, over dramatic while he's Googling or something.
Oh, yeah, because he definitely becomes a hypochondriac later, so that would come up in his Google searches as well.
He kind of reminds me of Ross from Friends a little bit, eventually.
Yeah, a little bit.
What's up, guy?
Taking it all in, man.
Oh, okay. Plug our show a little more. Where do they find us?
Oh, wow, that's your deal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
On Twitter, we're at Boar Meets World. Also, we're on iTunes. We recently got put on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, basically.
All right.
Yeah.
That is good. So yeah, we're just gonna talk about Eric today because he is the most interesting character on the show. There are basically 3 stages of Eric in season 1 and season 2. Like Kyle was saying before, he's kind of the 2-dimensional beefcake, just the older brother, and doesn't have a lot going on. Then like seasons 3 through 5, he becomes this kind of dumb and lovable goof, and then towards the end of season 6 and into season 7, he's just as the dumbest person you've ever met.
Like total ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah, which is good. It gives the show a lot of its humor, but it's hard to see where he's coming from on some things, because he'll still have these moments. On my rewatch, I'm in season 6 right now, where he's like really, really stupid, and then all of a sudden he's really, really insightful, and it's like though he can't be both.
Yeah, insightful and then very heartfelt at times.
Wisdom from an idiot.
Exactly. So what is your guys' favorite version of Eric?
Kyle?
Oh man, if I was gonna tell you guys, I'd give away the answer to my trivia question, so I can't tell you. But I'm definitely a big fan of 2 and 3, probably equal.
Like as he's starting to become dumb?
Yeah, when he's just starting to go into that line of being an idiot. When he's just cracking Fine.
Feeney call's fantastic.
Yeah.
Steven, what about you? Go ahead.
I was tuning in to Boy Meets World just for Eric, really. So.
Eric,
as for me, it's hard to really just pick one. I think obviously season 1 and 2 is kind of dull, but he has moments where he's funny and whatever. But yeah, it's the least favorite, obviously. Probably middle ground would be mine. It gets a little too much eventually.
Yeah, I agree. I think right in that middle, this season 3 and 4 are probably his best seasons, where he's dumb, but he's not insanely dumb, where you don't believe any of the things that he's saying. He wants to become a secret agent at that point in his life. This is after he fails as being a weatherman, obviously. He just does so many like funny one-off things that are still possible. Do you remember the episode where he dreams himself as the good-looking guy?
Oh, of course. When a crime breaks out,
all the cute girls shout. Kyle, do you know the rest of the words there?
I sure don't.
You get the good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are still in season. As of recording this, you guys are finishing up season 1 of Boar Meets World.
Yes.
So
we just wrapped up episode 18 today.
That's the last episode, right?
No, we got 4 more to go, I believe.
Wow, there's that many in season 1?
Yeah, I believe there's 22.
Oh, jeez. Okay. And then for some reason he thinks his middle name is Neil, even though it's Randall. That was one of my favorite moments. And then you'll enjoy this. When he talks to himself, he calls himself Kyle.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. So that was
so
always...
I said to myself, Kyle.
Alan and Amy just look at him crazy, and he doesn't know what to do.
Like, Kyle? Yeah, that's what I call myself.
That's probably why I like him, because he just refers to himself as Kyle. I'm like, that's
Right.
my name.
You think he's talking to you, exactly.
Yeah.
So another
But
odd...
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I just really enjoyed the storyline of him when he was trying to be a weatherman and whatnot. And I thought it would always be great if we actually got to continue that, and that's what he became, instead of just total dumb.
Yeah.
What does he end up doing? World Meets World. Anybody watch that? No?
I watched like 3 episodes, and I was like, I'm not a 13-year-old girl, so can't keep up with it.
Yeah, it was hard. I want to say he was like a senator or something.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
very Disney-fied too. Like Boy Meets World, when it started, Disney didn't own ABC yet, so it wasn't as Disney-fied. And then, like, to watch the couple episodes of Girl Meets World that I did, it felt too Disney-ish and wholesome.
Oh yeah, it didn't help that the main character this time was the 13-year-old girl, because I can't relate to a girl,
Right.
no matter the age, really, you know.
Right.
Growing up, and I have nostalgia for a teenage boy and things like that, but
You have
Yeah, I
nostalgia
don't know.
for being a teenage boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's a better way to say it.
You remember as you learned those life lessons with Corey and Eric.
Exactly.
All right. Kyle, any experience being a teenage girl?
I actually don't have any.
That's rough. No wonder you guys keep getting those 1-star reviews. So another thing that I've noticed on this latest watch through is Eric really is the only one who progresses through time and through school normally. Everyone else gets this weird time jump, and that I never understood. Like I guess I understood it because I wanted him to graduate high school faster, but like Eric goes through the grades and then all of a sudden by the end of the show, Corey's only like 1 year behind him when he started out 3 years behind him. So that was always confusing to me.
Yeah, I mean, they graduated high school in season 5, right?
Yes.
But they just got there in season 2?
Yeah, and I always thought season 2 was like a junior high, kind of, like they were 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah, I assumed they were 7th grade.
Yeah. And then it felt like season 3, maybe they were all of a sudden in 9th grade, and then season 4, he was definitely in 11th grade because Alan asked him what grade he was in one time, and he said 11th. And then they graduated in season 5. So somewhere, we lost a few years in there for Corey.
Alan had an ass.
Yeah. If he wouldn't have asked, we would have all just been blissfully ignorant of it. But in season 1, Feeney says they're all the class of 2000, and then in season 5, when they graduate, they say they're the class of 98. So yeah, there's 2 lost years there.
This show has a problem with remembering anything it previously led.
Continuity errors abound in the 90s.
Yes, that's very true. They don't like, they didn't feel the need to, they didn't think it would ever be on the internet where everybody could access it so easily.
I mean, I don't know how many different ways Corey and Topanga met or hooked up.
Yeah, they've had like 4 different beginnings to their relationship, I think. Same with Sean and Corey.
Yeah, Sean and Corey as well.
And then I like your running gag on your show with the third friend, whoever it's going to be this week.
Just that revolving door.
Yeah, they called that the death chair, I believe, on the set.
Oh yeah. And then Eric, not Eric, but Sean always had he had
sister,
at different
right?
times he had a sister, and then he had a different half brother from Jack who comes later,
Yeah.
who was stealing computers. Kyle, you haven't gotten
the
there yet.
trailer version.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Eric. We keep getting off track here. We want to talk Eric.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's why Eric got so dumb, because he stayed in the normal timeline while everybody else was jumping into the future.
Yeah, he was just confused.
Exactly. He's still thinking it's, he's supposed to be 3 years older than Corey, and all of a sudden Corey's 1 year behind him in school. That doesn't make sense to him. Fried his brain.
Yeah, he was in like a lost situation with the flash forward, backward, and sideways.
I never watched Lost. You got me there.
Oh my gosh, me neither. Thank you.
I was lost on everyone.
I saw probably 3 episodes of Lost, and each one I was more and more confused, so I just never took to it.
Hey,
Sorry,
it continues throughout the entire series.
As the people in the show are lost, the viewers are also lost.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I have this as a note too, kind of to go along with that middle section. Is apparently Will Friedle and Ryder Strong were such good friends that they couldn't have scenes together because they would just make each other laugh throughout the whole thing. And you get that because they lived together for a whole year and have probably 3 scenes together.
Yeah, the only one that really sticks out to me is when Eric was hiding in the couch.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even finish that scene, as you could tell from the end of that episode. The outtakes. Yeah.
That one was one of my the first time I saw that, I just remember when he popped up that first time, I probably laughed for like 20 minutes. And then they did all the outtakes from it.
I mean, that entire episode was great with Eric trying to attack Topanga.
Yeah, because she and Mankind stole their apartment.
Yeah.
Was it Mankind?
Yeah.
A lot of wrestlers in Boy Meets World.
Yep, and rest in peace, Big Vader.
Oh, yes. Frankie Stechino's father.
Correct.
Okay. What's next?
I don't know.
Man, I'll be glad when we get through season 1 so we can actually see this relationship with Feeney and Eric, start to take hold. And
great segue, Kyle. We were lost and you brought us back to it.
Which is ironic because I'm the one derailing our show at like every turn.
Yeah, well, how come you don't step up on our show?
Sorry, man. I'm just playing the part,
Great. You're a great moderator, Kyle. That takes off in season 2 because Eric finally because Feeney somehow moves into high school with them and then just continues every year with them to a point where they have no other teacher. They have Turner for a while and then they just have no other teachers. But yeah, the Eric and Feeney relationship was always really good because before this last rewatch, I didn't think that they actually, like, Eric ever had classes with Feeney, and then I guess he did. Mostly in season 3, they started to interact a lot. So I thought it was just like this neighbor that Feeney or Eric always wanted to get advice from without ever actually learning anything from him.
I believe he taught him in 6th grade, right? They always reference that in season 1.
Yeah, he would have had to, I guess. Unless you look at later seasons where they say Feeney taught Corey every year of his life, then he couldn't have also taught Eric that. So again, our continuity errors come up to bite us in the ass.
We don't ever actually see Eric in class, do we?
Whoa.
We see him skipping class in the episode where he's a weatherman.
We do.
In the episode where he's a weatherman, he sneaks in at the end of class to try and pretend he was there. That's the only time I remember seeing him in a class. He gets in a lot of trouble for not turning in papers on time. He does he hires Gerard from Term Papers by Gerard to do one of his papers one time. That's where you get the "Life's tough, get a helmet" line.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in a couple classes in college, but other than that, no, I don't think he's in a lot of classes.
Yeah, the sneaking in, I remember the college because Mr. Feeney's in his class that one time.
Yep. Feeney and Rachel team up for the group project.
Yeah. And then he and Amy have a class together one time.
Yes, the creative writing where she talks about her trembling. Kyle, you'll enjoy that one when you get to it.
Yeah, it's sexy.
Can't wait.
You get to see Mrs. Matthews in a whole new light.
Hold on, what does she talk about?
she's in a creative writing class with Eric, and she writes a paper about her wedding night, I believe it is, or the honeymoon, and how she trembles as Alan approached her on their wedding night.
Some steamy action with Alan.
Oh.
Pooh Bear, as it were.
Pooh Bear, yeah.
Boom Boom was trembling.
Boom Boom was definitely trembling. She's good at creative writing, but poetry's not her strong suit.
Yet another continuity error.
Well, creative writing's different than poetry.
I think you gotta be creative to write poetry, okay? Not in school, but...
Right. Yeah, I will agree. Thank you, Kyle.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Stepping up, Kyle.
No, he's everything's great. So what's your favorite version of the Feeney call? There's a few. There's the... Go ahead.
No, you run through them all, and then we'll pick one.
There's just the... this was... I guess when he was more of a townie, he would go up to basically his back door and just yell, "Mr. Feeney! Mr. Feeney!" And then he'd get... And then it would get longer and longer with that. And then in college, he would get the Feeney. Feeney.
Oh, that's mine right there, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the time where he was doing multiple of them, and then he created a new one.
Which one's that?
Oh, God. He was outside, and he was just like yelling, Feeney, and then he accidentally did a new one.
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
actually said, "Oh, that was a new one."
Yeah. That was towards it. That might have been one of the last episodes where he was trying to
get... His voice kind of cracked or something.
Yeah. And then he, the Feeney call doll was probably the best.
Did you see that, Kyle?
I don't believe I have, no.
Man.
That was yeah, you'll get there. It's the last episode. Do you want us to spoil it for you, or do you want to go in fresh?
Fresh.
All right, I won't spoil it.
Gotta be fresh.
Feeney does Mission Impossible, though.
You'll like it.
Yeah. And then, so one of my favorite Eric things was I guess it was Feeney's retirement, the 2006 in the future. It was in the episode where they were all fighting, and Eric comes back as a hermit. Kyle, do you know what his hermit name was?
Yes, it was Plays with Squirrels.
That's him.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have any trivia question, guys.
Oh.
Yeah, that was it.
That's all right. I'll give you guys the trivia quiz. I got good questions.
Sweet.
We're gonna do a trivia at the end of the episode, which we're getting towards. Maybe not.
Excellent.
I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of Eric in there. So yeah, Plays with Squirrels was one of my favorite Eric things, and the best thing was when Feeney called him Mr. Matthews, and he just goes, "Mr. Squirrels." No? I'm gonna get some 1-star reviews off this one. Cherry Bonbon's gonna be coming after me.
You gotta watch out for Cherry Bonbon.
Yeah, he's salivating behind his keyboard now.
He does not listen to my podcast, apparently.
And I forget the other one's name. Figment Fever or some shit like that. Can I curse? Sorry.
Go ahead. Too late now. You already did. So another thing that struck me as odd on this latest watch through is Eric always has a job, but he never seems to have, like, I don't know, Corey doesn't ever have a job, and he always has money to do everything. So Eric should be, like, super rich compared to Corey, because he was the box boy at Alan's restaurant, or grocery store, that is, and then he co-owned the outdoor store, and then... I mean, he just did that he was a security guard for like a day. He was a weatherman for a week or two.
He did have a brief stint as a model.
Yep. He got paid $50 to wear that lobster costume, which that's a pretty sweet gig if you ask me.
Yeah, I would totally do it.
Yeah, you get dunked in some fake butter and get $50. I'd load right back up on that dunk tank.
Yeah.
And then him and Jack work at the student union at one point in the college. So I guess I just don't know what Eric does with all his money.
I think he blows it on dates.
Again, towards the end of the later seasons, no dates for Eric. I get in the early seasons he's got a new girlfriend every week, but there's not in the college years. He doesn't. Jack takes all the dates.
Well, maybe he's the only one paying rent on the apartment.
Could be, because Jack's dad goes from healthy middle class to super rich in half a season too.
Yeah. Now, Sean and him have the same dad, right?
Chet,
truck driver.
Yeah, Chet is both their real dad, but Jack's stepfather is super rich.
Oh, okay.
So
That's true.
Yep. There's a
I lost
trivia
connection
question
for a moment.
Oh, gotcha. You're being very quiet.
Yeah. Sorry.
We were talking about Eric's job prospects.
Oh yeah, I heard it all. Just couldn't talk about it.
Oh,
I will say maybe Corey, like me, is really good at being a bum.
He did take bum lessons for Sean when Alan quit his job, so he may have picked up more than we saw.
Maybe Topanga or Sean is paying for gas and whatever, you know.
Could be. Yeah, I just thought it was odd how Eric doesn't ever seem to have, like, they only talk about the job as like something for him to do, not something other than when he bought his video baseball watch. It wasn't something that he actually used his money from.
And if you recall that time, he was supposed to go to the bank to drop off the money for the student union. He gave it away.
That's true.
Maybe he just gives money away all the time.
To organ grinders with monkeys who have the same happy dance.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a tough look for Eric. All right. I know where his money goes. The other thing, so I mentioned he had the job as a security guy when he got fired for hiring a bear in the outdoor shop. His parents were really down on him getting the job as a security guard, and I didn't really understand that. Why was that such a shitty job for him to have? Like, he has no college degree. His parents fired him from their family business, so he went and got a job.
Kyle, former security guard.
Ooh.
You know, it's actually a pretty sweet gig. I don't see why anybody would hate on it, because you just basically sit there and do whatever you want, and then you get paid. If anything, he's winning.
That's right? Kind of what I thought. And he has a super easy his location of choice is obviously John Adams High that he gets to patrol. So it's not a hotbed of criminal activity in the middle of the night. Gets a dog, gets a partner. I don't know why they said he wasn't living up to his potential, but I thought security guy was pretty good for someone with no college degree and no ambition.
Yeah. And you say no criminal activity, but what if Harley was out there causing a ruckus?
That's true.
That or people are stealing the answers out of the garbage cans to the IQ tests, and they're scoring way too high. And
yeah, you got to stop those guys. But it was the perimeter of John Adams High, so I don't think he would have stopped that. So this is the last.
I really need to watch more.
Yeah, you got to catch up, Kyle. This is the last point I wanted to make and kind of have a discussion on. There's a theory out on the internet that the show is actually seen through Corey's eyes. So that's kind of why Eric changes so much and Topanga gets hotter, and really that's just life, as girls get hotter as they get older. But Sean also becomes more well-rounded and deep as they mature because Corey can now see them as fully realized humans instead of as like an 11-year-old looking up to his cool brother. And then as Corey gets a little older, he's like, all right, my brother's an idiot. And then he gets really old and he's like, I don't want to have anything to do with my brother. He's too stupid. Have you guys heard that theory? What do you think about it?
Yes, I've heard that. But first I want to touch on Topanga became more well-rounded, right?
She became less weird.
I
don't know if that's a good
gosh,
thing.
You're a louse.
Oh.
All right, sorry. Yeah, I've heard that, and obviously, I think anyone can agree with that, right?
Well, I mean, the only thing I'm noticing, but you guys have watched it way more than I have, is that Alan and Amy and Feeney stay pretty static through the whole show. Like, they don't really develop as characters other than Alan losing his job at the market or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he quits.
Yeah, he quits, and then Amy just seems like she keeps the same character through all 7 seasons.
She gets pregnant at one point.
Oh,
I don't know if that's a character trait.
I mean, it's already happened 3 times. I don't see any development there.
That's true.
But yeah.
Okay.
You buy that theory?
Do you buy the theory?
If you just use Sean and Eric and Topanga as the strong point of it, yeah.
Fits, but like, do you feel your parents have changed in your life throughout your life, that they've grown as humans?
No.
There you go.
Not in like 17 years. They've been pretty much the same.
So exactly. I don't know how old you are, but since you're 11 till now, you haven't seen any. If you haven't seen any growth in them, then that would be kind of the same as Corey not seeing any growth in his parents.
That's a fair point. Okay. Yeah, I totally buy into this.
That's why they bring me here.
You swayed me.
Yes.
I do have a counter theory.
Oh, let's hear it.
Maybe you heard this one. You remember Lonnie, I believe her name is?
Oh, you stole one of my trivia questions, but yes.
Eric was taking her somewhere, and it got really snowy, and they got stuck.
Oh, yep. Remember that.
They're stuck in the car. He's banging his head on the window and knocks himself out. I have heard that bump may have created the dumbness.
It could have. I want to say that was season 4. I just watched that one not too long ago. Yeah, I would buy that, but I think he was already starting to get pretty dumb before that.
Well, let's just say it didn't help.
No, it definitely didn't help. And then they got to, he missed out on the stripping each other naked and huddling for warmth in the car.
Unfortunately, because she was pretty hot.
Yeah, Lonnie was good stuff.
Yeah.
Kyle, any thoughts on Lonnie?
She can't be that hot if her name's Lonnie. Okay, I had an uncle named Lonnie, and he was 300 pounds, so say Lonnie. I see hairy Kentucky man.
Lonnie is definitely not a hairy Kentucky man. We don't want Lonnie. You tell Lonnie to go back to where she came from. All right, then. Any other thoughts on Eric from either of you guys on what we love about Eric?
My favorite scene of Eric, and you guys, we could all share ours. It's I think you told me it was in season 2 of Harley, right, where Harley threatens to beat up Corey, and goofball Eric just goes straight serious, steps in, and he's gonna take care of this bully for Corey.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah, that was first episode of season 2, I want to say, when Corey first starts at John Adams High.
I believe he's going through his own Odyssey.
Yes, that's right. He has to read X-Men and the Odyssey in the same night, and then Turner comes in and scares off Harley for good because Eric was going to get his ass beat too. That was the first time Eric was really like a real older brother.
Yeah. Yep.
Steve,
did you have a favorite Eric moment?
Mine is the plays with squirrels, I would have to say. I don't know why. That always gets me.
Like I said, I enjoyed the mini arc of the weatherman, and also the Corey and Eric road trip, and he didn't want to go back home.
That one's a good one. He could have been their king in the yogurt cup world.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, yeah, that's a lot of good Eric. Are we ready for trivia?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do some trivia. You already took one, and that was what was the girl's name who comes to work at the outdoor shop?
My apologies.
That's all right. I've got extras. So we're gonna do 5 questions. See how many you can get right. We'll start with an easy one, or at least I think it's an easy one. What are the names of
Let me have this one, Steven.
What are the names of Harley Kiner's lackeys?
You got this one, Steven.
Well, we got We got Joey the Rat
Yep,
and Frankie, the Enforcer.
that's them. You'll meet them soon, Kyle. All right, question 2. What was Alan's dream job? What did he want to do when he grew up?
We learned this. Season 1. Come on.
What was it? Move to California? Build rockets?
He wanted to build something.
Yeah.
Bridges. Yeah, he wanted to build bridges.
That's it. 2 for 2.
There you go.
All right. This one's a little tougher. Kyle, you're not going to get this one, I don't think. Number 3. What is Eric's favorite fish?
Kyle?
Carp.
I think it's penguin.
Penguin, yes. How do you spell penguin?
Oh, God. Wrong.
Yeah. It was.
I believe it has a W.
Yeah. It was Pengwin. All right, 3 for 3. You guys are good. Well, Steven is. Kyle, you got one, I guess. Took you 2 tries, but you got it. When Sean changes the school paper, this is in season 2. Sean changes the school paper headline when Eric's dating the the paper editor. He changes it to "New principal is what?"
Mr. Weenie?
That's correct again. All right, you guys are good. I gotta think of harder questions next time.
Yeah, Steven is like the expert on Boy Meets World.
Kyle, you should be able to get this one because it's season 1. Go ahead. Did you have something?
I was going to say, you're pretty good with the Boy Meets World knowledge as well.
I am. That's why I wanted it to be a trivia challenge. You guys were supposed to bring some trivia questions for me, but it didn't happen apparently. So
round 2, perhaps.
Yeah, next time. Next time when we talk about Morgan Matthews and where she went for a year and a half. All right, Kyle, you should get this one because it was season 1. What is Topanga's sister's name?
Oh, isn't her middle name In the War or something like that?
Yes.
Stop the War.
Stop the War. See?
Nebula.
Nebula.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That's it. Bonus question. Is Corey right or left-handed?
Left-handed.
Yep, that's right.
Was that right?
Yep.
That's what he said.
Oh, wow. Okay. Total stab in the dark there.
Well, I figured
Hey, Kyle and myself are left-handed as well.
Oh, wow. There we go. You guys have something in common with Corey.
Yeah. And being dramatic.
What's that?
And being dramatic.
I still don't understand what you said.
Dramatic. We're dramatic.
Yep.
Is that what
Oh, I got you now. I'm going to have to cut this part, guys.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right, so that's really all I had on Eric. He, like we said at the top, he's probably the most interesting character in Boy Meets World because he has the biggest arc, I would say, where he has a lot of changes and he becomes a different character several times, and he usually ends up interesting, whereas the other characters aren't always interesting where they end up in their arc.
Agreed.
Definitely. I do actually have a couple trivia questions if you guys want to throw them in.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. What character on Boy Meets World is played by an actor who was originally considered for the role of Eric Matthews?
Jason.
You got it.
I wouldn't have liked that. I don't think he could have been Corey's brother the whole time. He was good in the 3 episodes, Eric's best friend since they were 3.
Yeah, we were watching episode 18 today, and I was watching and I was kind of trying to picture it. Like him and Will Friedle kind of sound the same, but it just doesn't work. I guess it's where, we've grown up seeing Will Friedle play the role. Next question isn't really about Eric Matthews per se. It's about Will Friedle. But what show did he do voice acting for? It was a cartoon.
Which one? He's got like
there's a couple.
30
Well, yeah, there's a lot.
Okay, it was oh man, I can't Never mind. Forget this stupid
Batman
question.
Beyond or Kim
Oh, yeah,
Possible?
you got it. Yeah. Congratulations. There's a point. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Mr. Turner was possibly going to have a different role. Do you know what that was?
I read this the other day. He was going to be. Oh no, I don't know. But I did read an interesting piece of trivia that I'll share once you give me the answer.
He was going to be Alan.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, they thought he was too young though.
Yeah, I could see that. So they said the piece of trivia I saw the other day was that they brought him in because of the success of Friends. They wanted someone in their mid-20s to bring in those viewers, I guess. Because Friends was so popular, they thought, if we bring in this guy who's 25 years old, then 20-year-olds will want to watch our show too.
Definitely. Let's have another guy with a mullet. It'd be great.
Gotta have the mullet.
Speaking of Friends and Girl Meets World, can we just forget about that and then redo the show and basically make Friends in the Boy Meets World universe?
Yes, that would be good. I would watch that. So it focuses on Corey and Sean and Topanga and Eric, maybe Jack.
Yeah, as adults, right?
As adults. Like they have kids, but they're kind of a side plot.
Yeah, just barely even mentioned.
Yeah. Which they changed their daughter's name for Girl Meets World too. In the future episode that they did, her name was Beverly Glenn or something, and that's not her name in the Girl Meets World.
I'm surprised they forgot.
That's true. Continuity is so important to them. Of course, that wasn't a real thing. It was a dream. So, yeah, I would definitely watch a Friends style show for the grown-ups of Boy Meets World.
Let's make it happen.
All right, I'll start writing it.
Thank you.
I don't know how to write TV shows. Do you guys?
We can figure it out.
Yeah.
We don't know how to podcast, but we have one.
That's true. Same here. As you can see from how wonderfully this has gone.
You claim to listen to us, so
I do listen to you guys. It's fantastic every time. I'm excited for episode 18.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right, that's all I've got for Eric Matthews. Any closing thoughts or anything like that?
Count hit us.
I have to think on it.
That's his final thought.
Yeah.
Mine would be, hey, thanks for having us show.
All right. That's a great final thought. Mine would be, shit, I forgot the line. I was going to do the...
wasn't really about Eric, but...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Do you guys have older brothers?
I have an older brother.
Okay. Was he like Eric?
I'd like to think he was, but I don't think so.
Oh.
He was like Eric in the early seasons.
Did he get dumber as you grew up?
No, I think he was always the same level of dumb. I just maybe noticed it more. As our theory pointed out, Corey noticed how dumb he was more in the future. All right.
It's a fun time.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Remember to check out Boar Meets World and listen to just a straight recap where you get no new information, and you'll hear a lot about Boy Meets World.
Oh yeah, Twitter at Boar Meets World, and wherever you listen to podcasts, check it out.
That's where they are. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
There's just one of me.